Hello everybody, how are you doing? It is Saturday afternoon and I am out in the shop. Earlier, about almost an hour ago, I made a post that I'm going to do a YouTube live today. And basically the reason why is I asked you guys to post some questions for the podcast, and I got a ton of great questions. Some of them were very pin centric. So they just didn't quite fit, and then we only had so much time, so I had to really pick and choose the questions that I wanted to use on the podcast. It was difficult, right? It was really difficult, but I picked a few, we used them. The other ones really deserve to be answered. So on my laptop over here, I have a list where each time someone posted a question, I'd copy and paste it, just into a Word document. And what I'm going to do is we're going to set up. I've actually got the computer right here. She's ready to go. I got the camera, the camera on her right there. I got my lapel mic around here, right over there, charging. And at 2 p.m. Central today, we're going to go live. So I hope some of you caught that post that I made on my other channel, and I hope you join us for the live. I'm going to do my best to answer all of the questions that came in, because I feel like they deserve an answer. People took the time to ask them. Let's answer them. So I've set aside an hour. I think that'll be enough time, and we'll see if we can't take care of all of that. Other than that, I've got one of the pins over here. I've got two pins that were damaged, and they've both been there. I've got ideas. One of them I've got to glue up on. I just need to trim it and get it on the lathe. The other one over here had some chips out of it, and I came up with an idea that I think will fix it, and I'm getting ready to do some final testing. I did an initial test, and it looks good. So I'm going to do a final test and see, how it turns out. So hopefully these will both be videos very soon. Depends on if I blow them up again today or not. Keep your fingers crossed, and I will keep you posted. Sometimes things have a happy ending. This pin turned out fantastic. Now, I was super nervous. I didn't know what to do the other day once I chipped it out and glued it up, because I had 3 flaws in it. I had 2 little chips, one on each side where the big chunk came out, and then I had one visible glue line. It was barely visible. You really had to look to see it, but I could see it because I knew where it was. I knew if I tried to figure out how to fix it, I never would. So I just said, put it aside, forget about it, just kind of let your mind go, and it'll come to you. And sure enough, that evening we were recording a podcast, and they asked, what are you working on? And I mentioned I was working on this pin, and I blew it up, and I needed to find a way to fix it. And then right then and there, it hit me. I just had to do a little bit of measuring, and everything worked out perfect. The pin is absolutely perfect. It looks amazing. I love it. Both of the chips have been removed from the pin completely, and like I said, you can't hardly see it unless you look for it, but the glue line is covered by the clip. And this pin looks fantastic. When you lay it down, let me flip you around and show you. This is what it's going to look like when it's laying on your desk. I love it because the Crayola part is up, and that's what I want. You want people to notice this pin because, it's the fun of the pin. It is a pin that looks like a crayon. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. I just think it looks amazing. Got a real nice fit down around the nib. I've got a great fit up around the cap. That's wonderful. One down. Now I've got this one to work on. We're going to get this piece of African Blackwood trimmed down. It's probably almost a half of an inch too long for this blank. So I'm going to start by cutting it off on the bandsaw. Then we'll take it over to the disc sander. We'll square it up, and then we'll get this baby on the lathe and see if we can't finish turning it. That's about it for me for a little bit. It is 1:38. I have, in about a little over 20 minutes, I have a YouTube live, and I've noticed that some people have started thumbs up in it, so that means people are finding it. And I put it out about 2 hours ahead of time because I really wanted people to have a chance to see that it was going to happen, so that we could get more people into the live. So I've got the computer ready to go. I mean, it is all I've got to do is hit go. Before I do, the one last thing I got to do is I have my lapel mic charging. I'm going to make sure that once it's done charging, I'll Bluetooth it to the laptop, make sure it's active, and then I can hit go. So we are, we're this close to firing up the live. But I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to get a nice ice cold drink, because even with the AC on out here, it's still really warm today. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you guys on the live this afternoon before you see this video this evening? Well, we just finished an hour and 20-minute Q&A session. It went great. We had a ton of questions. It seems like kind of hot in here. AC's blowing cold, but it just doesn't seem to be cooling down that much. I mean, you can tell I'm sweating like crazy. And all I've been doing is sitting in a chair talking with people for an hour and 20 minutes. This was a great one. We had a ton of great questions. I don't think I got a chance to stop talking for the entire hour and 20 minutes. So it was awesome. We got about half of the questions gone through because I answered new questions as they came in. We're going to do that again. I have to see what's going on next weekend, and if I have some time in the shop, we're going to set aside another hour, and we'll do it again, get the rest of those questions answered, and I'll try to post farther than 2 hours in advance if I know what's going to happen. All of a sudden the opportunity came up, and I thought, let's do it. So I'm going to get back to work in the shop and see what else I can get into today, and I will keep you guys posted. I just finished a glue up of a blank, and you'll kind of see it sort of is at a 30-degree angle on this end. That's the angle that I plan to cut the blank pieces off once this particular blank is dry. So I'm just gonna let it dry and see what happens. This is similar to the blank I did a while back. This one, that's kind of what that's gonna be. I plan to cut it off in strips at 30 degrees and then glue them back up to give me kind of a chevron pattern. However, this one, I don't know how well you can see it, but notice the grain all flows through the blank. That one, the grain is going to be at 30 degrees. It's going to be a little tougher to turn, but it should give a really cool looking blank. And this is more of an experiment, so there's a whole lot of maple in there because I had a lot of maple, right? If this works and it turns well, I should be able to make them out of strips of just about anything. Mix the wood up a little more. I almost grabbed yellow heart and purple heart and put that together, but I thought, you know what? Let's kind of wait because I need to verify this thing works. There's a ton of glue on there, so I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then I'll release the clamps and scrape all that glue off. And once the glue dries permanently, I'll run it across my sander and just kind of level it out so it's nice and flat. And that way it sets flat on my table saw when I trim it off at 30 degrees. And guys, I had a scare. I want to tell you, this is awesome. I was using push sticks. So my hand was probably 12 inches away from the blade, which is about as long as you want it, with a push stick, right? I'm going up to push it through the blade. I've got a push stick in my left hand holding the wood against the fence, and the push stick in my right hand pushing it through the blade. As I got the push stick close to the blade, and it was a long push stick. It's one of those ones from Fast Cap, the orange ones. It's 11th finger or something like that. It catches the blade and rips it out of my hand and pulls it into the table saw slot and just literally destroyed it. So luckily I was using a push stick, because if I was not, could have been my hand that went in there. So my hand never got close to the blade. I didn't feel in danger. I did get a little bit nervous and I jumped a little bit because it was loud, but wow. So definitely use those push sticks. That's why I love I know I'm lucky I paid a decent amount of money for this table saw sled, but that's what I like about it is your left hand is on the handle, which keeps it 6 inches to the right of the blade, and your right hand is on the fence, so it's on the far side. So you have to hold this thing and push it from each side to get it to flow nicely through the blade. So I feel like my hands are safe. Anytime I cut anything else, I'm trying to use push sticks. I'm gonna have to buy some more push sticks. I have 2 more, but they're different styles, and I like that Fast Cap one because it's kind of curved, so you can push forward. It's pushing down, but you're pushing forward, so it's not like you're gonna shove your hand down to the saw. So when it grabbed it, it just pulled. It shot up, see, because it went into the blade, so it shot up, so it pushed my hand up and away like this, and of course your natural reaction is to jerk up and away. So sorry about covering the lens there. So that was awesome because of the way it went, it was curved, it pushed me up and away. I yanked my hand up and away. I was nowhere near the blade, and it just pulled that right on down between the blade and the slot. And part of it is, let me flip you around. The blade is what caught it, but I need to get some of those those inserts and make a 0 clearance, and that probably would have helped. If it would have been for that, it would have caught the blade and just probably cut through it. But when it caught, it was able to pull it down a little bit and right down beside the blade here. And of course, I heard it go through the dust collector. Made a lot of noise going up through there and, you know, spinning around in the Cyclone. So I'm just really happy that I had that, and I liked what it did with my hand. So I think I'm going to order a couple of more of those. So they're going to get written on my order list. Okay, I got a blank spinning on the lathe. This is the one that I was working on. I thought I grabbed thin CA, and I actually grabbed medium and started using medium. And I have put probably 7 or 8 coats on there, trying to level this thing out. And I know it looks kind of bumpy right now, but if you spin it in the light, I don't see any divots. So I think I'm getting pretty close to being done. I don't want to use accelerator. I'm letting it dry naturally, and then we'll come back and micro mesh it. So it's just going to sit and spin for a while, and I'm going to see what else I can get into. Okay guys, I need your help. I downloaded the IEP pen application, the bushing application. So you can go in there and you can put in, you know, European, and it will tell you exactly what size bushings, what drill bits, all of the information you need to know about that particular kit. My good buddy Hugh sent me 2 Taylor's Murfield pen kits, and they're called Omegas. And when I enter Omega into the application, it has no information on the Omegas. He sent me an Omega rollerball and an Omega fountain pen, and here's a look at the kit, and there's no other markings on it. It just says it uses Omega bushings, and I have been unable to locate Omega bushings. I would either like to buy a set of bushings, or if I can find out what other pin kits it's similar to, I may already have a set, you know, that I can use, but I just need a little help identifying where I can purchase Omega bushings and what the diameter of those bushings are, so that I could either make my own or potentially already have a set with another kit. So if you know anything at all about that, please drop me a comment below. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you know where to get them, drop me a link. That's even better. Thanks guys, appreciate it. Bye-bye. I just finished turning a themed pin. It's got my logo on it and it says YouTube Legend. Not so sure about the YouTube Legend part, but the logo looks pretty cool. It's in a marbled blank. I really love it. I just wish the logo was a little darker so it showed up a little better, because when you really look at it, you can see it and it looks awesome, but it sort of loses it in the marbled blank. But that marbled blank is cool. Just take a look at that. I don't know what type of resin that is, but I like that marbled effect in the resin. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it. So this is a fun one. It just was a fun turn for me. Had a great time with it. I am ready to get back. I've been working on this one, and I've got all of my coats of CA on it. It is ready to be micro meshed. I think what I'm gonna do is micro mesh it, or I think what I'm gonna do is get it broke off of these nonstick bushings, square the ends up, then we'll micro mesh it and finish it up. So that's next this evening. Well, I just completed another pin. This is a blank that gave me so much trouble a week or so ago. I had to take it to the lathe 3 times, but wow, it turned out nice. I love how it looks. It's got a little bit of Chaos blank in there. It's got some gum nuts, some Bensakia pod in resin, and it's got a piece of African blackwood on the end of it. It actually turned out really nice. I was nervous there for a while, but I'm super happy with it. I think that's about the last thing I'm going to do in the shop tonight. I had a great day. Like I said, I got 2 pins fixed that were damaged last week. I got a full pin turned. I got a blank started. It's still drying. I want to run it. I went ahead over on my sander, my table sander, and I changed the sandpaper out, put some 100 grit on there so that I could sand. I want to sand it flat before I start cutting off the 30-degree angles. Problem is, there's still, the glue is kind of globbed up on there. I took a chisel and kind of scraped it off, an old beater chisel, and underneath it's dry on the surface, but it's still kind of tacky. So I don't want to run it across with sandpaper, because that will ruin the sandpaper. So we're just going to let it set and finish drying. Next time we're in the shop, we'll run it across the sandpaper, and then we'll get it cut at 30-degree angles. So, wow, I think been a great day. I think that's about it for me, though. I think I'm going to wind it up, do a little bit of straightening and cleaning, and then I think I'm going to call it quits. You guys have a great evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.